Hey guys. Some people on Facebook are having a little trouble, so I'm trying to help them out. Hold on a minute. Okay. So welcome everyone. How's everyone doing this evening? And I can see you in the chat, so make sure you drop your questions there, or any comments that you have, or anything that I may miss. I'm going to start in about 2 minutes. Just want to give people the opportunity to get into the room. All right, I'm going to start. I'm going to start now. So, tonight we're going to talk about home ownership and grants. The one thing that I specialize in is trying to find people as much money as I can to purchase a home. With the economy changing and people not having a whole bunch of funds to move, it's important that we tap into our excess of having grants. So first, I'm going to go over our the home ownership piece of it, the budgeting piece, the credit repair piece, and then we're going to start talking about the grants. And I have a new grant that I was just given yesterday. That's huge. So if you have a 680, you can get up to $18,000. So I can't wait for my clients to take advantage of this, and I am super duper excited for that to happen. So let's get started. First, I'm going to just tell you who I am, just in case you don't know. I am a realtor that is licensed in Pennsylvania, now in New Jersey, and in Delaware. I went to engineering and science high school in Philadelphia. I'm from East Oak Lane. Right now, me and my children live in Montgomery County, and I have a property management firm and a property preservation company. And both of those companies keep me really busy, but real estate is really what I do full time. Um, I am a principal member of Team New Philadelphia, which was formed about a year ago. I joined my partner, Malik Carter. Some of you may follow him on Instagram. His name is Carter Realty Group on Instagram, and he's a realtor as well, and a developer and investor. So if you're trying to get into that piece, he can definitely mentor you on that. So let's get started. On the budgeting. Budgeting is huge. People always, when you purchase a home, a lot of people don't realize that budgeting plays a huge part in it, because if you don't budget, then you kind of set yourself up for failure. When I bought my house, I guess now it's about 12 years ago, I didn't have any idea. I just bought the house. I didn't know what I was doing. I just like, okay, I'm going to buy a house, and not even think anything of it, but I didn't budget properly. The only thing that saved me was because it was a duplex. I was able to to make sure that I'm able to cover my mortgage on a daily basis. But if it wasn't, I probably would have been in a whole lot of trouble. I wound up getting rid of the property after it was all said and done, but it could definitely have been ugly because I lost my job. I had a child. Anything, life happens. So having a budget, having an emergency fund is something that I recommend. Anybody who's ever talked to me about home ownership knows that that's where I start. And then, we go from there. So I always ask, do you have a budget or what you're working with? So some of the benefits of budgeting: it gives you control over your money. It keeps you focused on your money. It makes you aware of what's going on with your money. It helps you organize your spending and your savings. It makes you decide in advance how your money is going to work for you. Um, it also provides you with early warning signs of potential problems. So if you know that you don't have money in your bank account, then you know that you're not going to make it that month. So it gives you the power to know how much you need to make. Whenever I sit down with my real estate coach, he always says, well, how much do you need to make to live this month? And I'm like, okay, well, whatever it is. And then he's like, okay, well, you have to do X amount of business in order for you to make that money. Is that plausible? Can that happen? And is it realistic? And so the budgeting has helped my business. It's helped me. It's helped me feel more confident. Just living life because I have a plan. So one of the things that I do with my budget, and this is what I recommend to clients as well, is that you review it every single day. You create a list of your spending habits. You see where you can cut. Nobody wants to talk about that, but it's important. You can see where you can add income, and I'll get into some alternate income and some stories of what clients have done to add income to their monthly budget, and it's been amazing. And you also think about what you can sell. Right now, a group that I'm a part of, they're all doing selling on like Amazon and eBay, and everybody is having like a wonderful experience with it and making a whole bunch of money. And also, what can you pay down when you get your income tax money? Are you just spending it on things that don't really matter, or are you paying down your debt? So some of the budgeting sources that I use are the 1 week budget through Tiffany Aliche. Also the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. I am a Dave Ramsey fan. I teach Financial Peace University at my church. And also I do all types of things with Financial Peace University. If you haven't heard of it or if you haven't taken the course, it's free and it's amazing. And I'll let you guys know when I teach it again, if you guys want to join us. But it's life-changing because it makes you look at your budget. It makes you figure out what you can do. It makes you clean up your credit. It makes you take control of your life. I also have a Facebook group. I'm going to restart it back up, but it's called Home Vision, Home Credit Vision. And Home Credit Vision is basically a group, and basically we just bounce off ideas. We talk about student loans, we talk about credit, we talk about budgeting, we talk about everything. Also, Every Dollar is a budgeting app that I use personally. I do recommend it. It's free as well, and basically it gives you, every dollar should have a name on it, and it talks about that. It also talks about, saving for your savings. When people think about their paycheck, they may zero out, but they don't actually save their money for emergencies. So it talks about that tremendously. Prism Money is another app that I love because it reminds you to pay your bills, and it also puts you on a schedule to start paying your bills with no problem. So those are the sites that I use every day. Another site that I recommend for homeowners or people that are looking to purchase a home is called Capital One, the savings account. Basically, because it's online banking, you can link it to like one of your primary accounts. But because it's online banking and it's a savings account, it takes 3 days for them to give you, like if you want to withdraw the money, it takes 3 days for you to do that. So with that, you don't have a direct access to it. Before I got onto the webinar, I ran to the market because I needed to get food for our for the snowstorm that's supposed to come out, whatever. But it was crazy. So if I were in line and I saw like an impulse item and I saw that it was going to happen, I may have just took out my card. I mean, took out the app on my banking app and said, okay, switch money from my savings account to my checking. It it doesn't allow you to do that because it takes 3 days for you to actually get the money. So it's important for you to have money that you can't touch, or it takes you a very long time to touch, in order for you to be able to really come up with a great savings plan. Also, if you need a bank account, and you'll get this information in an email later on, but if you need a bank account, you can contact Wendell at Wells Fargo. He is my personal banker, and he also helps people that may have had check systems in the past, or things like that. So definitely reach out to him. So when we talking about an emergency fund, we talk about how an emergency fund probably runs you. It probably costs you about $1,000. Give or take. So it's important for you to save for a rainy day. Um, some of the ways that I suggest to people to save for a rainy day is to sell the stuff that you don't use anymore, join survey clubs, drive for Uber or Lyft, invest in a business, a very small business. So like I have clients who sell hair. I have clients who do multi-level marketing. Things that have low cost investment are always a good way to build extra income. And then, you could just do anything. You could bake cupcakes, braid hair, babysit, teach class as something you're great at, but always have an emergency fund. Can I ask in the room how many people have an emergency fund right now? Good, good. Okay, yay, 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 yay. I'm glad everybody does. Great, 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 great. Okay, cool. So, you want to make sure that you keep that money to the side. And it's also a very good idea to just start building one. If you don't have one, you can start today. You can't see in this room, but I have, like, my son has like toys from from when he was from a baby to now. He doesn't even play with them. So we're gonna get this stuff together and go ahead and sell this stuff or give it away or something, in order to build that emergency fund, for himself, because he might want to do things when he gets older, buy a house, things like that. We want to make sure that he's prepared for that. I'm glad you're getting it together, Dana. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is credit repair. It is tremendous. The number one question that I ask when someone asks me, or tells me that they're ready to buy a house, is what their credit score is. So does anyone want to share their score? I will put up a survey. Give me a second. Okay, I'm glad that I'm seeing some good scores in here. Okay, good. Does anybody know if you have a score that's under a 580? Do you know what's pulling your score down? I'm glad you're repairing yours. Confectionist 86. Credit cards. Okay. All right. 700. That's great, Dana. Okay. I'm gonna just leave the poll up for a few more minutes, few more seconds. Student loans. Okay, yeah. Make sure you see the student loan doctor. Angela. Angela, make sure you get with me. At the end, you'll get a link for my phone number, because there probably is some things that you can do to boost your credit score. Okay, Talia, cool. All right. Okay. So with that, you want to make sure that you have as much. Um, okay, I'm sorry. You want to have as much much of your credit taken care of as possible, because it's very hard to come back after a huge hit. It's not impossible. I've had people come in with 450 credit scores and they've left, in the 600s. All I need for a home purchase is a 580. And I'll get into that a little bit, but 580 is where it starts. So if you get a 580 and you have it and it's stable and you've been making payments, I could probably tell you ways to increase it really quickly. But if you start there, then at least we got something to start off. Anything below that, it's not the end. We can most certainly help you. I have a bunch of credit people and experts on my team. I have people that I outsource to, and I also have people that are in-house if it's a small fix. But we don't turn anyone away, because I believe that home ownership is things that is something that everyone should be able to obtain. So I'll work with you until we close. Tamika, the 550, I have not heard that. It depends on the bank. Every bank is completely different, but 580 is really where FHA is, and FHA is 3.5%. So that's kind of where you want to be. The 550, it probably means that your interest rate is really, really high, and you don't want to get a high interest rate in this market. All right. So I always start with people to tell people to check your credit score. Credit Karma is good. However, Credit Check Total is probably the best site right now that has the most accurate. That's going to be this closest to what the mortgagers are going to pull. Every time a mortgager pulls your credit, you get some points taken off. So if you're not sure what your credit score is, if you feel like you don't have the best credit, it's Credit Check Total, www.creditchecktotal.com. And then once you Kirsten, go on Instagram Live, because I'm on there as well. If you can't hear or see anything, because that's weird. I think people can hear and see me because I'm getting interaction. But Credit Check Total is a great site, and it works really well, and it's very accurate. The other thing that I talked about is opening a bank account. You may want to open a bank account that is dedicated solely to your home purchase, but it also yes, it does give you all three scores, but also a bank account is important for you to establish credit as well, because if you don't have anywhere for you to pay your bills with, I mean, I know a lot of people get maybe their paychecks put onto a debit card or things like that. That's never a good idea, because when we pull a mortgage application, we're going to ask for at least 3 months of bank statements right off the top. Another thing you can do, yes, credit union is perfect. Another thing that you can do is get a secure credit card. If you don't have any credit, which happens a lot, people out of school or just never established credit, you can get a secure credit card, and I can give you some links, but the first step is always the credit union for your secure credit card. Your bank may have secure credit cards, but the credit union is key. If you live in Philadelphia, just join the Philadelphia Federal Credit Union. They're the best. They will help you. They will even be able to get you loans. But to me, that's probably the best way to start. Checking and savings you want to have. If you don't have a credit score, or you're trying to establish credit, you may want to get an installment loan. And I use a site called www.selflender.com. And I can send you this link. And basically, you establish an account with them. You pay into it. It's a CD, but they report to the credit bureau every month. So they start you with like a $1,100 credit line, and you pay into it, and then you gain interest. I'll go over, if you just leave your questions until the end, and then I'll go over so I can make sure that I cover everything. But Self-Lender is definitely something that is essential. Also, if you have to make sure you pay your student loans. And I know it's hard because everybody has student loans, and people didn't realize when they were signing up that they're going to have to actually pay them back. So it's important that you start paying your student loans as soon as you're out of school. Even when you're in school, if you want to make small payments towards them, it's always a great idea. Um, so if you have some default student loans, I would recommend that you try to get them pulled out of default before you apply for a mortgage, because any lender is going to tell you that you need to have the student loans out of default. They cannot be in default. And right now, what it is like, just say if you have $40,000 in student loans, we count 1% of the student loans towards your monthly debt to income ratio. So that means that you're counted, it's going to be like $400 against your debt to income ratio. Depending on how much money you make, it may be that you don't qualify for the mortgage that you think you were going to qualify for. So it's important to have them in a good status, because if you have them in a good status, then you're able to get into a in a repayment, and then we can sometimes use the repayment of it depending on what loan product we're able to use. That's why your credit is important, because if you have good credit, then the numbers can change with your debt to income ratio. Also, becoming an authorized user on, like a parent, a sister, brother, cousin, anybody who is willing to let you become an authorized user on their credit card is always a great idea. If you become an authorized user, then you will be able to get that person's credit history. So for instance, if you have a parent that's had the same credit card for the last 10 years, you'll get all of that history onto your credit report. It's important when you're building your credit. Also, you want to avoid prepaid cards, because a lot of people think, well, I have like the prepaid cards, you can get like boost cards from like 7-Eleven or CVS or anything like that. The prepaid cards do not help you build your credit. So it's important that you get an actual credit card. A debit card will not help you. You have to get a credit card to help you out there. So with your credit repair, you're going to always have the up-to-date address. If you have any addresses that are older than 5 years on your credit report, you're going to get them to removed. Because if you don't remove them, any of your old things, so if you had like old utilities or things like that, they won't be picked up by the new addresses that are reporting onto your credit report unless you give your social security number. So it's important to have your things up to date. And anything old, just take it off, take it off. I have a letter that I've sent out before, but if you need it, just let me know. You can remove your inquiries with this letter, and I've been successful, and then I've had some people that haven't been successful, so we're revamping this letter to try to get as many of the inquiries removed as possible. So I'll show you how to use it. It's completely free. The only thing that you have to pay for is to get it notarized. And if you do, then you'll be really be able to see your credit score go up as well. Each inquiry is worth 2 points, but if you're at a 560 and you have 10 inquiries on your credit report, if you remove those, then you're up to where we need to be. So it's important. You also want to go ahead and pay down all of your credit cards to 10%. And I know that's hard, but it's important. So if you have a $500 credit card, then you want to pay it down to $50. If you pay it down to $50, then it's all done, and you can go ahead and do whatever you need to do to pay it down to 10%. When you're rebuilding your credit, you have to be 10%. 30% is for when you're going to be, you already have a credit that is established. Okay. Also, you can use the snowball method to pay off your credit cards. So a lot of people are trying to pay off their credit cards and don't know where to start. You got to start somewhere. So you can start with the very smallest, and you just go ahead and pay off each credit card at one time. So just say if your lowest credit card is $100, right? So you take $100 and you pay that off. And so then the payment that you would have paid on that card, that $50 payment or whatever the minimum payment is, just say it's $10. You'll take the $10 and pay it off onto the next card. So that's why they call it the snowball method. And again, I'll send you guys the links for all of the things that I'm talking about. But you can always email me, call me, text me, or whatever. I love to share information, so it doesn't matter to me. I'll just send it over to you. Okay. So you want to dispute any negative items. You can also call your creditor. So if you have like Capital One or First Premier or any of those credit cards, sometimes they'll give you a free pass on your late payment, especially if you're current, and especially if you set up automatic payment for future payments. So that is definitely something that you want to look into. You never, ever, ever, ever pay a debt that is not going to be removed from your credit report. So I have people that I'm working with, and what happens is that they send in they want to do their credit, and they're getting things deleted, and they're paying things thinking that it's going to help your credit. It does not help your credit report if you pay the debt off. It'll just be reflected as being paid off. And so what I recommend is that if for some reason, if you are going to pay it off, which I'm not disputing that you should, you shouldn't, but if you're going to go ahead and pay it off, what I would do is go ahead and call the creditor, tell the creditor, hey, I'm willing to pay this off, never pay them full amount because they've already charged it off. I'm willing to pay, 25% of what this debt is. If I pay 25% of what the debt is, will you delete this from my credit? If they do, if they agree and they verbally say yes, that's great. You ask them to send you a letter stating, if I pay this off, whatever the amount is, you guys agree to delete this off of my credit report. They have to send you the letter. They'll email you, fax it, whatever it is, mail it to you, whatever. When you get that letter, then you pay them with a check. That's why it's so important to have a checking account, and it's even more important to have checks. Most people don't even have checks anymore because they're becoming obsolete. People don't use them, but it's important to order that one book of checks because you're going to need them, especially if you're trying to get your credit together. If you pay it and you go ahead and they delete it, you send a copy of the check, the deposited check, along with a copy of the letter stating that they will delete it, over to the credit bureau. You fax it and you mail it certified to the credit bureau, and you will see it come off. That's the only way that I would ever say that someone should pay a debt, because if you don't, then you're just going to have debt sitting on there, and it should be like it never happened. So it's important. We also have a self-help credit method. I have a few clients that I'm working with. Sometimes you guys will see me post on Instagram, some results, because people are just, it's sometimes, you want to help yourself, because if you get into trouble with your credit, it's more likely that you can get yourself out of trouble if you know actually how to do it. So I have a team of people that research and try to find out, ways to repair credit. And that's, basically what the self-help method is. I'll also send a link if you want to sign up for that as well. If you need credit help, I have a tremendous list of vendors. I work with Credit Medics. I work with Credit Mechanic. I work with Credit Boutique. I work with another credit person. We do credit, like I said, small fixes only for home ownership ourselves. But if you need credit repair, seek it. If you feel like you don't want to do it yourself, then seek it. It works in most cases, but just make sure that you're vetting the person that's doing your credit repair. A lot of people go with like Lexington Law, and it works for a while, but then a lot of people see it come back onto their credit report. So it's something to that, and you want to make sure that it's a permanent fix, and that's why I recommend that you do it yourself, because then you know where your paperwork is. Also, get a credit card. So if you don't already have a credit card, go ahead and get a credit card. There are a bunch of credit cards that are starting out for people that are building their credit, and I can send you links on that. Don't close any old accounts. So if you have a history on an account, you don't want to close it and get so many get that history off. You want to keep the old accounts open because you want to see the history that's a part of your credit score, and also never co-sign. So you never ever want to co-sign. I've had so many people that have come in that have co-signed for family members on cars. I had one woman that co-signed 5 cars for her family. She had a very large income, but even with that, she still was not able to qualify for a house. So co-signing is, you're carrying that person's debt. If that person decides that they don't want to do anything, yes, I'll send the links. If you decide that you want to go ahead and do your purchase, or if that person decides that they don't want to pay anymore, then it's on your credit, and there's nothing that you can do besides you would have to go through the person's wherever you guys live, the municipal that you live at. You have to file a police report. You have to go repossess the car, and in that case, or whatever. I had people co-sign mortgages. They weren't they weren't into home ownership at that time, and they co-signed mortgages, and the person left the property. It's just messy, so it's just best to not co-sign. And I'll take some questions. What if your children's student loans that you co-sign for? I can't tell you that I discourage that, just because I would do it for my child. But you just have to take into consideration that you will have that a part of your debt to income ratio, and depending on what the payments are, it could affect your credit score. So if the payments are made for some reason, then it will. If it's showing that your consolidated loans are defaulted, and it depends. We can ask that question. Yes, I'll send the actual PowerPoint. If you don't receive a response, call the credit bureau and ask them if they received your letter. I had a woman last week. We didn't get any responses, and so she called and they said they didn't receive it. So we simply just faxed them over. Let me just check on Instagram. The lowest score for your credit score is 580. Yes, the grant score is 680, Tiara. Which credit cards? Probably First Premier, but you have to watch their fees. It's best to go to your credit union. Day grinding. There you go. I'm sorry. There. All right. Sharina, you said you sent yours. Yeah. Is there anyone that can help you for free? I charge $50, so that's almost free. I don't know anyone that can help for free. Shanna, 680 by when for the grant? I don't understand your question. FHA sets their interest rates. So right now everyone's getting the same rate, and it's about 4%. Put her on Nasheed. Hi. Put her on your credit card. So any credit cards that you have, just put her on. I just put my daughter on, and she's 15. All right, Taisha. I'll definitely send a link. Just let's get on to the next part. So I talk about home ownership, and I talk about how people should own homes, but people always ask me why, because I always get that one person that always says, well, I've been renting and things are, if something breaks, I have someone to call. And that's definitely true. But it's important to know that the chances of something breaking when you own a home, especially if you do the proper home inspection, are slim. So let's just go over it. The average first-time home buyer in Philadelphia is 32.5, which compared to other cities is high. I'm sorry, it's old. So we're we're behind the curve in that. The total median income in Philadelphia is 54,000. People are renting for 6 years before, purchasing their first home, and only 40% are married. And I would say within my last, I say if I took the statistics of the last 2 years of my career, I would say the majority, 80% of them, if they were not married, were women. So that's wonderful. Women are definitely purchasing homes. So it's important that you guys realize that purchasing a home is probably the biggest investment that you'll make in your lifetime. And I think you're investing in yourself. It's like having a piggy bank, that you live in, because it's the more you put in it, the more that you get out of it, even as you retire. So some benefits are greater privacy. Your home typically increases in value. Your costs are predictable. The interest in the property tax portion of your payment is a tax deduction. So, when you're doing your taxes, and even once you take like the earned income credit and things like that, if you own a home, you have even more credits. There definitely is, pride in ownership and things like that. And at the end of the day, you're not paying anyone else's mortgage. You're not paying anyone else's bills. You're paying your own. In most cases, if you're renting something, just say if you're renting something for $800, you can definitely get something that is renovated, that is, probably even better than where you're renting it for the same amount, or in a different neighborhood, or in a better neighborhood that's, better suited to your taste. So it definitely is something that, it adds value to your life. Let's see. So when you're preparing to buy a home, again, you must have a 580 or better credit score, 1 year rental history. We can also use, we have a client that we're working with now. We use alternative credit, such as insurance, daycare's expenses, utilities, any of those monthly things that you pay, we can definitely use. I recommend that you get pre-approved through a mortgage company before you start talking to a realtor. Obviously, I would love to work with you, but if you decide to work with someone else, the steps are definitely that you go ahead and you shop for a mortgage. You can go to your bank. A mortgage company is a little more lenient, so you're going to make sure that the bank is reputable. I had a bank, the person was not even licensed. So it definitely is important that you do your research there. You're going to either use a bank or a credit union. And the key to all of this is that if you want or need a grant, you need to apply for the grant before your home search. Most grants state that once you're under contract with a home, you cannot apply for the grant. And sometimes there are waiting lists. You have to take classes. You have to do this all prior to beginning your home search, and also put together your savings. So you can definitely have gifts from parents, or other blood relatives, but it's nothing like having your own savings so that you can make the move when you're ready. Some other things that we consider when we're looking for a home is, you can consider a duplex. That was my first home. I was raised in a duplex, so I kind of followed that model because I know that it helped me. It helped my mom when she was raising me and she was in school, and it gives you that peace of mind. HUD homes, I'm doing a HUD deal now, and I actually love them. And you can get a HUD home, especially like if you're a teacher, if you're a firefighter, a police officer. HUD has so many things that are starting, programs for people. It's just definitely a good move right now. Also, when we talk about newly renovated homes, which I love posting, the beautiful homes, but also homes that kind of need some love, you definitely want to take and consider the homes that need love, or like the grandma houses, the old houses, because those homes are definitely homes that have equity, so you can make them the way you want, and it just sometimes it's just better suited. Some people just want to kind of move their stuff in and not do anything until whenever, and that's good too. But having a home that you put some elbow grease in is always a good idea. So after you find the home, we place an offer. And of course, we're going to win because you're with me. And then we shop for insurance. I have a bunch of insurance agents. You can go through your car insurance. Insurance is, something that you can definitely negotiate. And then you get a home inspection. Excuse me, the home inspection is huge. You want to definitely get a home inspection, no matter what. Always. I've had people that have worked with realtors in the past that have advised them not to get home inspections. I would never ever advise anyone not to get a home inspection, because if things are going to, go wrong, it's going to go wrong in the home inspection. And at least if you have the home inspection, you're able to have some ammunition if things do go wrong. So, we work with a bunch of home inspectors, but you can use whoever you want. You can have your uncle come through and look at the heating system, whatever you want. It's the biggest investment. So I advise you to do whatever you need to do to make it work. All right, let's talk about grants. I'll take a few questions. What if you never rented prior to purchase a home? We can make that happen. It doesn't matter. You said you have a son with a disability, and you make sure he's gonna get. If I buy a home, I'm sorry. If I buy a home, would he be able to put? Would I be able? Yes, you can put your children on the deed. I do that all the time for my kids. I buy investment properties. Um, Shayla, Shayna, we're about to go through the grants now, so you'll see where the timeline. I think I answered Jennifer's question. Oh, good. If you have a property that you want to purchase, that's called an arm's length purchase. So if your grandma already owns the house, you can for sure be able to purchase her house. Janelle, HUD Home is just basically owned by the government. They usually have repossessed the house through a foreclosure process. So you'll get a bunch of, you may have HUD Homes even if you live in Philadelphia now or any other county. And I can show you the website where you can find the HUD Homes at. Jennifer, I always think it's a great time to buy, only because he's going to make some stimulus for real estate because that's the industry that he got rich off of. So you're going to see some stimulus stuff from him, some initiative. I don't know if you guys remember when Obama first got in, there were like $6,000 tax credits and things like that. So there's definitely money out there. Tamika, can you get a 203C or plan B? I don't understand the question. You said, I know you can definitely use, you mean a 203K? Yes, a 203K mortgage. Yes, you can do that with FHA. What kind of grants do I look for? Mostly just home ownership grants. There are other like down payment assistance grants and things like that. I don't know of any credit unions that give you a second chance with the bank. All right, I'm going to go on to the grants because I know my people on Instagram are waiting for this, okay? So right now, again, I cannot stress enough that you definitely want to apply for grants like now. So if you're thinking about purchasing over the summer or before school starts back up in September, you want to go ahead and apply for grants now. Get into Claire to Clarify, which I don't know how many women I have on here, but Clarify is a great resource for women. They help women out with small businesses, home ownership, budgeting, credit repair, everything. But they're geared to women. I mean, they help men, but they're geared to women. And I also serve as a coach for them. And so I know that really well. Also, Dixon House, which is in South Philly, they give a $500 grant and also a furniture voucher for up to like $1,500, which is huge. And the grant is at Raymore and Flanagan. And you can go in and basically just shop for stuff, but you have to apply for it before you get a home. PHFA for sure has a bunch of grants. That you can use. There is more year round. However, they also do specialized grants, like the one I'm about to talk about. The biggest one, which is becoming active on Wednesday, is called First Front Door. And First Front Door it's specific to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. It's actually nationwide, but the lender that I work with will take a 620 credit score, and she will be able to get you approved for First Front Door. And First Front Door is $5,000 for your closing costs. So your closing costs can consist of your insurance, your transfer taxes, your title costs, and things like that. All of that is covered with First Front Door. Most of the time, with the average purchase of being about $180,000, the person last year only had to come with $1,666 to close. So that was it. We only had to put down like $1,600 to close, and it was a beautiful thing. So it's a 620. She will run your application. The thing before you even talk to her that I advise is that you have your pay stubs together, because this program is income based, so it depends on what your income is. It definitely is important for you to have your income together, but in addition to that, you want to make sure that you have as much of your banking statements together, because they also look at assets. So depending on what your family size is, First Front Door is an amazing program. You can apply. There's a list of banks that you can apply with. I work with Cheryl Ann over at Huntington Valley Bank, and she's really good and she's really patient, especially for first-time homebuyers, because you don't know. I pride myself on working with first-time homebuyers, just because I was a first-time homebuyer, and my realtor, who is a very dear friend of mine, by the way, but she kind of just was like, go ahead and do it, and didn't give me any instruction. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. So I do advise that you get with a realtor and a lender that works with first-time homebuyers, so they are patient with you. So that's just the thing that that's my disclaimer there. First Front Door is a great thing. It starts on Wednesday, so it starts on March 15th. The money usually goes within the first 3 weeks, so you got to have your credit score 620 is their minimum. And if you got that and you meet the income guidelines, we can hold on to just say you're not ready to purchase, or you don't see anything on the market today. We can hold on to like your application number and have your reservation in for, I think it's up to 3 months. So it's important that if you want to do this, call me, text me, whatever. If you have over a 620, let's put your reservation in and be ready for when this money is about to hit. Okay. I'm going to put my number here. I think my number is always on Instagram, but my number is there. So just in case, text me, call me, whatever you need to do. But we want to make sure as many people get into this program as possible. And also, yesterday at my business expo, one of the mortgage lenders that were there, he gave me information on a stimulus that's about to drop for those that have a 640 or better credit score. The 640 is a $10,000 grant. It does not go on your income. So it doesn't matter if you made $300,000 last year or if you made, $20,000. You will get the $10,000 from the bank. Basically, the bank messed up. They discriminated against African Americans. And so because of this, no, this bank does not do it yearly. First Front Door is yearly. Because they discriminated against these folks, the bank was ordered by the government to pay $25 million in money to help people be able to purchase homes in areas where African American and Latinos live at. So if you have a 640, they will give you $10,000 towards your closing costs, which is amazing, because not only are you able to buy down your rate, you can put down even more. So like some people were saying they want to put down like 10%. It's humongous thing to be able to do. And if you have a 680 or better, then you're qualified for up to $18,000. And you compare it depending on what your income is. You can pair it with first front door. So we're talking about a lot of money here, because you're able to buy down your rate. If you're buying a house for $160,000 and you get this grant, you can basically buy it down so that you're only purchasing something that is $142,000 if you get the $18,000. You see what I mean? It definitely is huge, to be able to have this in place. So what I'm saying to people today, I've reached out to all of my clients yesterday while it was fresh on my mind, and today I had a closing, so I didn't get a chance to reach out to them again. But if you're ready to purchase and you can do it, if you see houses on the market and your only thing that was holding you up was the down payment money, just get with me, because we have access to this money, and I want as many people to take advantage of it as possible. So I on this slideshow are the contacts for the banks. So Carol Ann is over at Huntington Valley, and Neil is the lender that I use that can take 580. I'm going to send everybody this information so that you'll have it in your email. And again, if you want to talk to me directly, I put my number. And yes, I'll start taking questions so that I can answer everybody's individual questions until our time runs out in about 10 minutes. So let me just get to the first one. Okay. Dana, will First Front Door check your score? No, they will check your score. Yes, they will check your score themselves. Do you have a minimum limit on homes that you show your clients, because some realtors don't work under 50,000? You know why they don't? Because most banks do not lend for that amount. It really just depends on the area. If it's up in the area that I cover, I don't mind showing you the house. It doesn't really matter to me. Jessica, First Front Door is yearly. The stimulus with the other bank is not. That is just like a one-time thing because they were ordered by the government to do it. You would get Shayna, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, I'm sorry. You do not have to be, you would get pre-approved through the mortgage company. Yes, all three credit scores need to be above 680 for the $18,000 grant. So your mid score. And so typically yes, I would say all of them. And M&T is the bank. Any other questions? I'm going over to Facebook. Yes, it's feasible for a person who is, who makes $30,000 to purchase a home. That happens every single day. When purchasing a shell, is it possible to have it inspected also? Yes, it is possible for you to have a shell inspected. Sure. Fit Chick, did I answer your questions? You do need to be at your job for about 2 years or more. It can be at different employee, as long as it's the same industry. As long as your tax returns were filed, then we'll just do the check that way. The first grant is just for first-time homeowners, and first-time homeowner is someone who's purchased a property within the last 3 years. The second grant, the stimulus, is not. It's for anyone. You can even, if you even own a home, you can do a refi through there. So just give me a call. There is no income limit, Tiara. Confections 86. It depends on where you move to. Nope, gray space. It's not. Hi, honey. It's not. It's I was gonna tell you that you guys can do your refi through them, or you guys can purchase an investment property. You are. It depends when Joe Ball 26. I'm not sure. Whenever you purchase the home, it depends on when you actually purchase the home. The pre-approval comes first, then the grants, Tiara. Serenity, you want to have at least a 580. Nard X 267-707-6487. Hold on, I'm just gonna go back here and answer questions. We got about 5 more minutes. Kelly, did I answer your question? Yes, I'll do this again because a lot of people, for some reason, can't get in. You can't get in on your phone. You have to be on a computer. You can get in on your iPad. I don't know. I have to work out that platform. I'm gonna try to stream it onto YouTube the next time. Shanira, Key, I think that you will see results within 60 days after you get that secure credit card. But what I recommend with a secure credit card is paying it down to 10%, even though you start with 500 or whatever the startup is. If you have, Janelle, I don't understand your question. If you have your credit on your report from a different address, what can you do? I don't understand it. Either call me or message me, please. Does anybody have any questions? No, Sharonda, how'd you miss it? No, I'll definitely play it again. It depends, Sala. It depends on how bad your credit is. But we'll definitely. Yep, you can get pre-approved by a mortgage lender. These are 2 that I recommend. They work great with me. If you have credit on your report from a different address, what do you do? So you can, when you say credit, do you mean like bad credit or good credit? That's a lot of questions. Thank you, Tamika. I appreciate the feedback. Yes, the $18,000 grant is a particular bank. I'm going to send you the information. The best thing that I can say is for people to email me or text me so then I can just send it directly to you. I put my you should have gotten an email from my from when I emailed you, so you can just always email me back or text me just the information. I'm not going to hold the information. I want people to take advantage of this because they took advantage of our people. So yes, I love self-employed people. So I help out a lot of hairdressers and entrepreneurs like myself. So yes, I love dealing with them. Yes, 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 Elaine. You can use it on a newly built home. It all depends on where it's at and your affordability. In fact, we're doing someone's getting a house built in Delaware and they use a grant. Yep. Sala, what was your question? I'm sorry, sweetie, I didn't see it. Yes, apply for grants before the pre-approval. If you're doing first front door, there are only a certain amount of banks that you can use. And I would say Sheryl is the best to start there. Yes, honey, I'll go over your credit report. I look at credit reports all day long. Hey, Nishi, tell you know what I'm talking about. Tell hubby I said hi. Sala, I want you to pay it down to 10% so you can see some real good growth there. Cherie, that's great. You've been your own employer for 7 years. Have you been paying your taxes the way you're supposed to? Sharina, would you have a total credit card debt? Yep, each card, 10%. Yep. I do not do rent to own. I hate it. Blame K. I don't like it. It depends on the auction. Sometimes you're able to look at those homes. Sometimes you're not. I am India. I went over that, sweetie, but I'll definitely send out the replay of this. Yes, girls rock. I certainly will. Just send me your email address. Let's Queen. I will definitely send a replay. You called them since you've been on the call. That's wonderful. Let me know how you make out. Of course. Make sure if you want the PowerPoint, everybody that's actually in the webinar will get the PowerPoint no matter what. But if you guys are on other platforms, if you're on Facebook or what have you, or on Instagram, just send me your email address and I'll respond with it. Shanice, if you have a lot of questions, let's just set up a time to talk. I am very open to that. I want to make sure that people get the information. So just send me a time that you want to talk and we'll set it up. Yes, just text me because a lot of times I do evenings like around this time. So just text me. Thank you, Shanice. I appreciate it. I'll try to be helpful. All right, guys, I am going to shut it down because I want to be, mindful of people's time, and hopefully and prayerfully everybody, will get to that home ownership goal this year. If you have any questions, please just email me. There's no question that if I don't know the answer to it, I will definitely find the answer for you, and I will definitely make sure that, I get your questions answered. And I have a bunch of professionals in my arsenal. So if you have a situation that's difficult, we can most likely figure it out. Just take some time, some patience, and a lot of encouragement. So I will talk to you soon.